Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Halbkast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Another episode of Hypecast. I fucked it up. It's STRIKEcast.
STRIKEcast. It is. We are still in our STRIKEcast.
It's the show that we've always done about stuff and things. Hello, I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
And I'm Robert Brockway, and I cast Hype.
But do you also cast Strike?
No, I'm very serious about that. That's,
if you're
that's
not aware,
we're not joking about that. It's the future of American labor at stake.
For people unaware, we haven't been focusing on like the latest trailers, because we're being supportive until we get bored doing that, and so
which could happen at any time.
Anytime. I've been missing out on a lot of trailers because of this, because I used to watch a bunch of trailers every week, and I guess most people don't.
Me too.
For some reason,
most people aren't like spoiled about that. But like, I was like looking and being like, "There's a fucking David Fincher movie coming out." Like, I'm starting to fall behind, which is, I don't know.
It's been kind of nice. It's been like not looking at Twitter for months.
Yeah, a little bit.
The price you pay to support a dying American industry.
Yeah. Robert, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah,
How the hell are you?
Well, we talked about this a little bit. I'm gonna get prescription eye blasts, so hopefully better in the near future.
Nice.
Hopefully they make you uncanny.
Yes, I am hoping for at least astounding. Mm-hmm. But I will. I mean, the goal is always uncanny.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Hey now, you got anything to plug before we get into it? Anything like going on that you want to tell people about?
Wouldn't it be crazy if I said no? Of course I do. I write with my partner Sean Baby over at 1-900hotdog.com. You know this. You guys know this.
They must.
You have to at this point, and if you don't, now you do. We also have the Dog Zone 9000. That's our podcast we run every week. Just me, Sean, and a guest about something wacky that should not exist. But we've also, what you might not know, we've also started a new podcast called Big Feats with me, Sean, and Jason Pargin. And what we're doing is watching through every single episode in order of the show Mountain Monsters, which is a hillbilly X-Files, but like reality show where they pretend that monsters exist and they're in the woods with them. And they almost catch them Scooby-Doo style every time, and it's in reality what it is just a bunch of hillbillies doing monster improv at each other and like
LARPing.
learning. They're like learning the rules for good improv as they go because they don't know them at all, and they're constantly they fight and they know each other and they forget to build and they each try to bring their own weird, and so they're figuring out the rules for like a good improv sketch in real time over the course of 9 seasons. It has 9
holy shit
seasons this thing has been going on. It's fucking hilarious. They keep escalating stakes. We're finally getting into the really good shit in the recording where like they get through figuring out kind of the show format, and now they're on to like trying to figure out what our spin on the Mothman is.
How do you...
The Mothman one drove me insane. I was
It's
like,
so
where are
good.
they pulling these details? Like he's 700 pounds all of a sudden, and they build their trap like it's a literal moth that's attracted to light.
No, they established that he's a literal moth, because they're doing improv, right? So they don't say anything about that until the very last part of the episode. They're like, and we're gonna bait him with light. You're like, fucking what? You've established this is a quantum being, and he's still bashing his head against a window.
Yeah, in fairness, if I heard Mothman, I would assume okay, I better get a bright light. It's right there in the name, I guess. How do they sustain 9 seasons? That's amazing.
They just keep escalating.
Really
in later seasons, we haven't gotten there. I've only kind of looked through the episode descriptions, but in later seasons there is a rogue team. So that just imagine how they got there with X-Files or Supernatural. Like you really have to keep building. So now there's a dark monster hunting team that they have to race for monsters for the fate of the world, and there are mysteries and jigsaws and
they never catch Bigfoot, right?
They catch Bigfoot every single episode. He just gets away.
Oh, okay.
Also, there are 100,000 kinds of big feet. There are infinite subspecies of big feet.
There's also other monsters. I'm so excited you guys are doing this show. Listening to the first episode about the Wolfman.
The Wolfman.
When Wild Bill says, "I will slit the Wolfman's throat," I couldn't catch my breath for
That was
2
amazing.
minutes.
There's a quote of his coming up in an episode about a lizard demon where he says, "Come on," he's hip deep in the water where ostensibly he thinks this lizard demon is going to leap out and kill him. He's hip deep in the water and he's got this fucking crazy knife and he's dragging it just across the surface of the water tauntingly, and he's going, "Come on out, lizard demon, I'm gonna cut you 3 ways, long, deep, and wide." Fucking
Jesus
just
Christ.
lunatic. He's great. He falls out of a tree at least 4 times, and
It's
we're only
just
6 episodes in.
It sounds just like a home invasion horror movie for Bigfoot. It's just straw dogs for Bigfoot, where it's they're not hurting anybody, and
That's
these
literally an
fucking
episode.
maniacs. Really?
They actually find Bigfoot's house in one episode,
Holy shit.
and they invade it. And Bigfoot is just fucking get out of my house. He full panic. I'm not even kidding. It's an actual house that Bigfoot lives in.
Is it just a 2-story Victorian, or is it
it's an old moonshiner's shack that
Got
Bigfoot built a Bigfoot nest in because they nest and they invade it. And Bigfoot fucking hates it.
This is reality TV?
Yes. They insist it's real.
I feel like this should be illegal to make.
It's so
I mean, I'm glad it's not.
I'm absolutely certain there are just dozens of crimes in every single episode, ranging from mere permit crimes, which they do not have, to severe woundings and possible covered up murders. 'Cause they get guns. They're pointing guns. They're swinging shotguns around at each other's faces.
Right. They're probably just firing into the woods.
They don't often get permission to fire them, but even we all are, for bummer reasons we're not going to joke about, but we're all familiar with firearm safety on set. They have actual shotguns and are constantly just pointing them at each other's faces, just while we're talking.
Wild.
It's fucking Wild West. It's such a good show, and we're gonna do, I guess, 700 episodes of this trying to catch up. But big
The
feats.
whole series, every episode.
With theme song and ending music by your very own Jamie Kelly.
Wonderful.
It kicks ass. Give it a shot. That's me. That's my plug.
That's a great plug. Well, shit. Anything else to declare? Should we just get right into it? We've been off for a week, so everybody's just fucking, they're edging real hard.
Let's fucking go.
For some trailers.
Really edging some hype and some strike.
Let's give them some release.
Well, we got to edge them a little more by
Let
thanking
them
some
cast.
producers. Well, first, some producers. So, big ol' thank you to @NerdNumbers. Thank you very much. Thank you to Zero Charisma.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Bursar.
Thank you.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew Howe. Deck the halls with blood.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Bob Grenville.
Thank you.
Thank you to Bootler Boodleson.
Thank you. Let me swoop in here. Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brockway loves the meat Millie. Thank you to Burrito wants you to drink water, hit the gym, and do the ska because they loves y'all.
Pick it up.
Thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thanks.
Thank you to Davey, the ghost of East Las Vegas, Francis.
Thank you.
And thank you to David Knife Boot Henson.
Knife Boot.
Knife Boot.
All right. So what is the theme?
We owe our livelihood to so many of the same people. I recognize so many of those things.
These fucking
Really
maniacs.
You're keeping us
Beautiful
alive.
maniacs.
I love them all.
Going on this journey with us.
Thank you all. So we're gonna do another movies that deserve more hype week. This is just indie films. Indie film week. That's what we're going with. Starting with a movie that I've actually I've had my eye on this for a while, and I couldn't tell, like it's not quite big enough to be mainstream, but it's also been before a few films. It Lives Inside is the name of this one. It is a horror movie about a demon. Can you believe it?
Believe it.
Yeah. It's bold.
I'm very much like, this could be good or bad, right? This is one of those where it's like there's no fucking way to tell from this trailer.
It gives me at worst like smile vibes, which it wasn't terrible. It was fine. But it could just be that where you're like, if it's only what you've shown us in the trailer, then this is just, we've seen this a million times before. But at best, there is a potential in a few of those quick cuts, maybe Malignant vibes.
Right, exactly. Where it's like, who can fucking say? It's got an 83% with 23 reviews. So like most critics seem to think it was fine. That's the whole thing, right? With Rotten Tomatoes is like literally a 3.5 out of 5 counts towards that 83%. So all it means is 83% of critics thought it wasn't garbage. And so
put that on your poster.
Yeah, exactly. I assume the demon means something. I assume it's that.
Yeah, I looked
horror.
it up. It's called a Pishak or a Pishash. It's a flesh-eating demon in Dharmic religions appearing in Hindu and Buddhist mythology. So that is something I did want to say, that I like that it's doing like folklore that I'm not familiar with.
Right. It's about an Indian American teenager with it feels like
it's not just another
if we're gonna make countless
Christian
demon
devil
movies,
possession movie that I've seen a zillion of. Yeah.
Find some other cool demons.
Yeah,
because
there's
so
plenty
many
of them out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the points for it. However, like, I'm all on board for trying it because of that, because you're at least pulling from some interesting sources, even if what you've shown in the trailer, and I realize it's just a trailer, but what you're showing in the trailer is just looks exactly like any Christian demon possession movie. Like you would have, aside from the names, you would have no idea that there was anything different between that and just the devil of the people.
bendy
like,
demon stuff.
That's all the bendy contortionist bone breaking stuff that we've just seen.
It really seemed like one trick too. Like that was it. Like they would hover in the air and then kind of bend into funny shapes.
I like that she's got a demon in a jar, like it's a grasshopper, and I do kind of like that. I mean, that's a lot of horror movies, right? Where I have this talisman or this object that contains the demon. I just like that it's a little jar, because
poke holes in it for it to breathe. Little stick in there.
Seems like a weak ass demon to me if you could just scoop it up in a jar. But still, it looks. I don't know. I'm as a horror movie person, it's like I'm gonna fucking watch it.
Oh
because
yeah,
of course I am.
I mean, we have to.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. It's the law. This director is, I think, done a lot of short films, but I think this is their first feature. It's also PG-13, which that doesn't mean anything. I think supernatural demon stuff gets away with that more often, because it's like we don't need a demon to decapitate someone and drink their blood. I mean, that would be cool, but supernatural and ghosts tend to
Like, that was pretty... I mean, it's one trick that we've seen before with the floating in the air and then all of your limbs bend in the wrong directions with sickening cracks, but it looked like it happened 800 times to the body count looked pretty high in this, so it amazes me that got a PG-13. That's some pretty graphic violence.
It's always weird when demonic possession, when they leave the body the people are just okay afterwards. And it's like, they should be like, every bone hurts.
Yeah.
I do not feel well. Like at the ending of The Exorcist, the girl should be like, I need to go to the hospital.
I fit in real small spaces. Do you know what I'm saying? I need to go.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I do like that this demon seems to be stacking up bodies. Yeah.
Right.
It's just packing them. It's packing them for easier movement. I'm just gonna store them for a little bit.
It's good for them. I have nothing else to say about this because it's like we're saying, it's so hard. Trailers like this, like I always think about like Cobweb, which was a horror movie I really liked recently. From the trailer, you'd never really know. You have to look to see who did it. And with this, I'm like, I guess I have to look at this person's like short films, or like a lot of horror fans. I'm just gonna go fucking see it.
Yeah, you got me. But also, like, man, you're kind of doing a good job if your trailer sucks as a horror movie, because otherwise you're giving away a lot. It seems so hard to do.
Same with comedies, right? Yeah.
It's like same. There's like you need to hold back, but then it makes for a crappy trailer, and people are like, well, this doesn't look good, and then they don't see it.
Yeah. Well, let's keep on going to Saturn Bowling. Not Saturn Bowling, it's Saturn Bowling instead of Saturn Bowling. Does that make sense?
No. Are you saying like Saturn?
Look over there.
Saturn Bowling is like the name of a place,
right? As opposed to a person bowling. Like, look at my friend Saturn's Bowling. It's like, no, let's go to Saturn Bowling instead of Saturn Bowling. It makes sense. Everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
wrong but me.
Like a girl interrupted situation.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
This is about the sexy and gritty world of owning a bowling alley.
I love it.
Bowling is way sexier than I thought.
So it seems like, what was it, French? It was like, it had like it's a way sexier sport over there. Like, I got to get into that.
Yeah, apparently.
They sex it up at least 2 degrees.
Yeah. I don't like, because there seems to be implications that that like the bowling alley owner is scummy, and it's like, well, that I believe. But in like a sexy way, not so much. The synopsis is about a officer investigating a series of murders. The exact synopsis is investigating a series of the IMDb synopsis is written terribly. I'll do it exactly how they wrote it. Investing a series of murder by a police officer following his siblings' unusual management of his father's business. So I don't know. I guess I don't know what this is about.
But unusual management.
It's unusual management. He seems to be using his bowling alley as like a honeypot to lure women in so that he can murder them. Like, that seems what's going on.
Sexy bowling ladies.
Yeah. It's the ultimate honeypot. Saturn Bowling.
Okay, piecing it together, I got the vibes that this is maybe about somebody that is newly promoted to the manager of a French bowling alley, and he goes mad with his moderate amount of power, like the Kids in the Hall sketch. Like it just goes to his head, and he starts like spiraling Goodfellas style into murder and abuse.
That's what I thought. It was like, okay, the brother did it, obviously. So here's the fucking synopsis on Rotten Tomatoes, which is way more fucking compelling. A police officer inherits the family bowling alley and decides to give it to his half-brother. We know that. But the gift is haunted, setting off a series of murders. Both brothers find themselves drawn into a demon-filled abyss and will have to face their heritage. Darkness reigns over a world where the only rule is the rule of the hunt.
What the fuck?
Now I'm like, I don't know if that's literal or figurative.
Where was that
it's like
in the trailer? Where was any of that?
Is it literal demons, or is it like, the demons of your past? This movie is so confusing.
They said there was a world of them.
Yeah. Like, I have to see this just to know what the fuck they're talking about at this point,
How much would it rule if it's the first half of the movie is like French noir, but with a bowling alley instead of private detectives, and then the last half just takes place in hell? Like you bowled a strike and it opened a rift into hell.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like it sounds like the synopsis of like a weird Japanese horror game. Right?
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like a Resident Evil almost.
It-
like a
it's-
bowling alley with
Like one of those games where you need a weird peripheral, where it's you got like a squirt gun you gotta use.
I like the marketing tactic of making it so hard to understand that people are just like, okay, I guess I'll just see it to figure out what the fuck you're talking about.
That synopsis sold me. I also really got a kick out of the shot where they were doing the police driving down the street at full speed, and the police siren was like the bowling ball rolling down the lane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's very artistic way to do that extremely stupid idea that I loved.
this naked gun idea.
Very fucking naked gun, but done so seriously and so Frenchly that if a movie was just 100% those scenes, I would have a blast watching it.
Oh, yeah, so Frenchly. Yeah, I mean,
That's the best adjective for this trailer. I hope this is bonkers. I really do.
Yeah, I hope it's out of its fucking mind, because the worst thing it could be is like
It's
just like a
boring.
thriller
like
with a serial
weird
killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like imitation Fargo is the worst thing it could be.
Yeah.
Or-
I need like Satan bowling. I
Yeah.
need like a round of bowling against Satan.
I need that to literally be haunted, not haunted by like the ghost of their father or
No.
whatever. Like there's actual bowling ghosts,
Pirates,
and when you
ghost pirate.
they come out of the holes in the ball.
Yeah,
Like that has to happen.
I want that. I want that real bad.
You get a strike and they all scream.
Yeah.
All the pins are bones.
That's what it is in hell.
Bone pins.
Bone pins. They should have called this bone pins. But yeah, I mean, check it out, everyone. Saturn
the
bowling.
The bowling alley.
The bowling. So many better names.
Oh man.
Speaking of vague shit, this next trailer is for Shadow Island. This is another one I've had this on like movies that deserve more hype. I had this like in my maybes because the problem with it is that I don't know what the fuck it is. It's the synopsis is a meteorologist journeys to a deserted island to investigate his father's death, where he is confronted by strange and mysterious occurrences. That's it.
Yeah, you can't do that, and you're right. You can't say strange and mysterious occurrences. That's not
Right.
That's ducking out. That's quitting halfway through the job.
Yeah, it feels like they're doing. It's the lighthouse. It's just the lighthouse, but one person.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looks like. I was pretty intrigued by this trailer.
Me too.
It seems like there's all kinds of spookiness on this island, and maybe there's ghosts or something. I don't know what's happening. I like good spooky mysteries on creepy ass islands, and this has both of those things checked off in the trailer. So I was into this.
Yeah, I'm into all that shit on like a default level. If you got like Silent Hill, Alan Wake kind of setup, I'm in. Like that's it. But but the spooky occurrence, with strange occurrences, is God. That could be anything. This could be a movie I would absolutely love, or it could be a guy out there like finds a deer carcass and gets weird about it,
Right.
and just gets really weird with it. Like
Yeah, he has just like a weird stomach thing happening.
Yeah,
where he's
it's
just like, I didn't eat anything weird, but my stomach's being really fucking weird.
Strange occurrences is just he keeps getting the wrong person's mail.
just replace that with
exactly.
weird shit. A guy goes out into the lighthouse and he sees some weird shit. Come see it. Come pay some money to see that.
Right, yeah, that immediately gets you more in the door than strange occurrences. It's weird shit. Like, yep,
So
50% more tickets being sold.
I read a little more into this, and I feel like I know what they're doing here. I mean, it's hard not to make the same conclusion. So they see strange lights in the dark and eerie radio disturbances and a hidden cave, and then the character begins to question whether or not they're alone, and then starts hearing on the radio a female voice calling out. I don't
Are
know.
we
That
doing
feels
siren
like
shit?
yeah, I was about to say that feels like a fucking siren, right? Like
Yeah.
that's got real siren vibes.
I can do that. I can fuck with the siren.
Fuck with the siren,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right for it. I kind of thought that was what Lighthouse was going to be.
I was about to
like,
say,
I was really sure.
I really like the lighthouse, but like I also thought that, and so it's like, okay, we still got room for a siren movie.
Yeah,
is
you can still do
basically
it.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah, someone do it.
There's like an aesthetic to this. To actually, maybe to almost all of these trailers. Saturn Bowling had kind of a different vibe, but a lot of these trailers, there's this sort of visual sameness, and this one just stands out as like, you know what I mean? You're going to know it's from this period, this kind of like black bordered, undersaturated, really heavy wan grays kind of color palette.
Yeah.
It's like James Cameron in the 90s with that blue filter, and everybody was like, oh, that's what movies look like. I feel like we're getting that. We're getting that with this.
A little bit, yeah, the indie vibe.
Yeah, with the indie horror movies, for sure.
The indie horror vibe.
Yeah.
Like, we've just decided A24 set like a visual palette that
They're
you're
all like
allowed
a little-
to use.
Right. It's better in this than like kids movies, because like Harry Potter did that, right? Where they're like, oh, okay, every kids movie needs to be like blue and drab, and it's like, I disagree.
I very
so like
vehemently disagree. Thank you.
Yeah, indie horror movies, it makes a little more sense, but it is still like, you know, everybody jumps on the same thing and you get fucking sick of it. Even including this next trailer, which does also have the blue tint, and a lot of other things, which is Beaten to Death.
Yeah.
And it's what it says on the box. I want to note that the director has made 2 other feature films. One is called Blood Hunt, and the other is The Slaughterhouse Killer. So,
Jesus Christ!
I guess I want to say, like, is this guy okay? Has anybody looked into him, like, you know, his comings and goings? This has good reviews, but it seems like it's about a guy just having a real violent time, from what I can tell.
He's my older brother in like 1993 going through a bad breakup, just drawing metal band names on his arm until it hurts, until it draws blood, man. Slaughtered to death. That's what we mean now.
Yeah. Now, this kind of reminds me of another Australian horror movie, Wolf Creek.
Oh yeah,
Because it's the same sort of. Well, it's about this group of people getting relentlessly pursued by just kind of this outback dude who at first is kind of charming in like a Crocodile Dundee folksy type of way, but he very quickly becomes extremely sinister and just relentlessly murders them all. And this movie has very much that vibe.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very much like the plot seems to be a guy who in the outback dealing with just maniacs, you know, like just we're maniacs, we're gonna kill you, and he has to survive.
It's like Crocodile Dundee 2 from the drug dealer's point of view.
Yeah, and again, it's got 83%. Not many reviews though. And several of the reviews say it lives up to its title. Like, all right.
There's a lot of people beaten to death in this one.
Yeah, I'm scared to watch. I feel like I'm going to turn it on and a guy will come out and beat me to death.
Right, yeah.
And they're trying to warn you'll have to be like, well, that's on me.
Yeah.
Just
all the information I needed was there.
With a brick, yeah. The trailer does seem to make it very, very clear above all else that the movie will live up to its title.
Yeah,
it looks brutal. There's got to be some kind of turn in it that the trailer isn't making clear, because we have made exactly this movie so many times that we are now like, it's almost become standard fare to do this movie with a twist. Like the last one that was this, but with a twist, was like Sisu, which was like this, but reverse perspective. Like if the killer's fucked up. And so I feel like we're already at that stage where we're like, you got to have a twist. You got to have a twist.
Exactly. Like the last one I really liked was fucking You're Next, where it's like you realize it's just Die Hard. Like it's not even a horror movie. It's just fucking, we're just going to watch this person just murder these people.
Yeah, it's like we're to that point where you have to subvert the trope because this trope has been done so often. And it's one of those things where like if you make a trailer for this kind of movie, it's always going to look exactly like this trailer, even though you might be doing something very cool and interesting with it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, all the reviews I'm reading are just like, it sure is violent.
Like, it seems real focused on the violence, which is not great.
Which we've done. Like, you got to bring something.
A review from Bloody Disgusting says, no matter the response Beaten to Death elicits in its viewer, there's no question that filmmaker Sam Curtin delivers a discomforting gauntlet of extreme horror. And I'm
Okay.
like, man, Bloody Disgusting, your name is Bloody Disgusting.
I keep
And you're
thinking
like, yeah.
You sound tired.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It sounds like this movie wore you out.
You're like, yeah, I guess that's on us. That's our name. He sent it to us, and it sure was bloody disgusting.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, what I'll say is that this looks like it's well made, for sure. I'm not a big fan of, like, the torture horror era.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
just brutalness for the sake of brutalness. So, like, I'm not getting much out of this trailer personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if other people are into this, you know? Juggalos, for example, will probably really like this movie.
That's unfair to judge. How dare you, sir? On behalf of all juggalos.
Not just juggalos. So you know what I mean? Like it's a perfectly
Soccer
normal
players.
genre.
They're a
It's just
peaceful
not.
and graceful, deer-like people.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just not my genre. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, I can dig it when it's deployed in like strategically and with like restraint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or it's you know, like fucking funny games where the whole point is it's
Right.
about violence and the nature
And
of
I'll
it.
actually I'll defend the first two Hostel movies to a degree because I feel like the point is similar in that where it's like you don't want to see what's going to happen to those people. That's kind of where the tension comes from.
Right, violence isn't not scary.
Right.
You
but
know?
So I just, we'll see.
You gotta have something.
Yeah.
You gotta have something else that's not shown in this trailer.
Yeah.
I'm also getting like a
man.
high tension vibe from it.
Yeah. That
That's
doesn't give
what I
me a
mean.
good
That's-
vibe. I didn't
That's
like high
been done.
tension.
It's so often.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is like what's the catch? You know, what more is there here? Because there's not much. You know what it should have? Acid Rain.
Oh man.
Our next trailer for Acid, which by the title I was like, which way are we going with this title? This is from the director of The Swarm, which was a Locust horror movie.
I didn't see that.
Neither did I, but this is one of my favorite fucking genres, which is small time disaster movies, like The Wave or The Quake, or that the person's other movie Troll, or at least the person who did The Wave.
The Wave
this
was
is
so
about-
good. The Wave was great.
It was. This is Acid
Still
Rain.
need to see
It feels like it's not, because Acid Rain it doesn't like burn you to death, right? Acid Rain is acidic rain, but it's not like this. I don't believe.
Not to my knowledge, it's not like it's portrayed in Scrooged.
Yeah. It's like sulfuric rain that you don't want to sit out in it, right? But like for the most part, it's not going to immediately melt you. It's not going to turn you into the fucking Joker. But this movie is positing like, what if it did?
What if it did do that though?
What if
Yeah.
Acid Rain was as cool as it sounds?
Yeah.
Right. What if Acid Rain was as cool as when you first heard about it as a kid?
And I was like, tell me more, movie.
Yeah. And so this looks solid. It looks, I don't know. This trailer, it was like, this looks fucking intense.
I like that it's addressed, like you've pointed out with those other movies that you've mentioned. I still need to see The Wave, but they like kind of address not just the immediate awesome problem of acid falling from the sky, but like the less awesome problems, which is that like shit's gonna start just falling apart everywhere, and like all of the major issues that endless acid falling from the heavens would bring around.
It's almost,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a form of a cracked observation, which is that so many movies will like just like have these really apocalyptic things happen and then just be like, but wait, there's more, and keep moving. And you're like, wait, slow down, because just that one thing is a really big problem.
Right, yeah, if you just follow it to every conclusion that it can go to.
Exactly. And that, so like The Wave is like, what if a wave hit a town? And it's like, okay, and then like, what, is a comet gonna hit? And they're like, no, it's just the one wave. And let me tell you, that's enough.
It's a real problem.
It
It's
really
a real
sucks.
fucking
It really
problem.
fucks some shit up, man.
Yeah, for the people in this town, it's not good.
Stay with me while I show you all the shit it fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, look over here. This sucks.
Yeah, this really sucks.
That really
And
did
this seems,
suck.
The same where it's like, what is this acid leading to? And it's like, does it need to lead to anything? It's just fucking acid rain.
Right. Acid falling from the sky feels like something that other things lead up to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like that's...
So like the trailer is just people like, what the fuck are we going to do about this acid rain?
Yeah, just looking at the sky being like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
God damn, that really is acid.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but rain isn't supposed to be acid. And it's a real problem that it is.
Like, what do? You throw stuff at it? I tried that. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You can't shoot it.
Yeah.
I love this because it's one of my favorite ideas that only happens rarely, which is a slightly less stupid version of The Happening. Because The Happening was great. And if you only... It was just like a little bit too stupid to make it a joke. If you just dialed back the stupid just a little bit, you would have a fucking blast, like exploring all the implications of this really ridiculous core premise to drive a horror movie. And that looked like this. Like, it's not made by an idiot. It's The Happening.
I totally agree where The Happening was like, this isn't a bad idea.
It's not really.
You did some really silly shit with it.
And even the sort of framework of like how it was structured to play out, if somebody else had, if he could hear the word no, like if he wasn't too big at that point for somebody to be like, hey, this part's dumb. You could have held that back into a real blast. It never would have been a smart movie, but it would have been a blast. Like this. This looks like a real good time.
Yeah.
It's a movie I've wanted to see since I was like 6.
Yeah, right. Everybody had that thought.
Yeah, since the first time I got disappointed about acid rain.
Yeah, you hear that and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Never the implication of like how much that sucks, but it's just it's boring. They're like, it's just bad for the crops.
Oh, it's just horrible for the environment. Oh, dang.
We are starting to get that cycle. Like we used to have some good, what are we doing to the fucking planet horror movies. And I kind of fell off the map for a little bit. I've been wondering when that's going to come back around for like the younger millennial Gen Z generation to be like,
yeah, I feel like they're like, we don't want to hear about it. Like that's not fun.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about it, but eventually they're going to start dealing with it. And I think I don't know that Acid is the flagship movie for that moment.
The problem is those types of movies might. Yeah, they might prepare them wrong, where they're like, I thought it was going to be like this, and like, Jeff Goldblum would give a virus to the aliens or whatever, and like instead it just like sucks, and we have to do a bunch of math to figure out like how to solve it. Like it's
just really fucking hot all the time.
Yeah,
and everybody's hungry.
Yeah. Much rather have acid rain.
Yeah, acid falling from space is just way more badass.
Followed up by hot and hungry. Yep. Acid, Hot, and Hungry, the trilogy.
Next trailer is for Dragon Fruit.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, this is like post-apocalypse. It's apparently about a single mother who's trying to grow a tiny dragon fruit spout to sell it for money. That's it.
I love apparently, it so much.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's like, I'm just trying to do this one little thing in the apocalypse, and it sucks.
Look over here. This sucks.
Exactly. Yeah. And everybody is trying to take her fucking dragon fruit.
Right.
Yeah, this does my favorite thing, and something I just want to see in everything all the time. It's you could infinitely spiral out any franchise if you took this philosophy, which is diminishing stakes of a story without diminishing the story itself. Like that trailer... Everybody go watch this trailer. It goes so fucking hard. Like from the description you just heard Dave say, she's trying to grow a dragon fruit in the apocalypse. You get like a sad little Pixar movie in your head. But this trailer is just fucking machine guns and people getting beaten with claw hammers, and there's a woman with like some sort of robot spear fending off a Fallout mob. And it's all spiraling out from this little fruit. And it's not like they don't say, this fruit is going to save the seeds of this fruit will feed all of mankind. Like, no, she just wants to sell it to get like a weekend off. And like, that's it. I wish we'd do that shit. If we did that shit with Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
You could make infinite movies out of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And
with just, like Andor did sort of this and was great. It was about, at its core, at least to the start, it was about, unionization and like getting...
I still need to watch that.
out of like a municipal government, and like that's perfect. That's the great thing. And they're at their best when they do a little prison break or something. They tell a story just in the universe that's not for the stakes of the universe. Like, I would love to see a movie where a teenager tries to save up for a car, like a speeder or something, and then, you know, wacky stakes ensue. You could do anything.
You can, you can have a lot of fun with that.
That is a real problem with blockbusters, especially right now. We've made the comment endlessly about it's always like a big light in the sky or like a big beam in the sky.
Yeah,
that's like every Marvel movie is like world ending or universe ending stakes, and so you just become so numb. So it's like,
you don't give a shit after the 2 or 3. You're like, yeah, okay. I would be much more interested to see the stakes of like somebody's small business in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Or like as long as you like. You care about the characters, right? Like the stakes don't matter if the characters matter, and it comes down to that.
Right, the stakes have to matter to the characters, and then or if it's just awesome.
Like Mad Max Fury Road, it's like they're just trying to fucking drive somewhere, but it's so awesome that it doesn't need to be fucking this giant fucking bullshit. I don't know.
Learn from this. Goddamn you, Disney! Watch this movie and learn.
But yeah, this looks boss.
It does. I'm into it.
This next one is interesting. Onyx, the Fortuitous, and the Talisman of Souls. This is a movie. This is this is like I'm very like I've kind of short circuited on this one because it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look like the humor is really like it didn't really get me. You know what I mean?
This is such a puzzle. It's such a fucking riddle.
And it looks real weird.
I watched this a couple of times just to be like, what the fuck is this?
It's about this like kind of loser guy who lives with his parents, I believe, who attends a ritual for this like magician at this mansion, and they are going to summon demons. And it's done in a very like the effects are very like, you know, practical effects, kind of like that style horror that's been going around a lot lately, which is like the kind of the throwback. But it also like the look of it is throwback in a weird. It's hard to describe the way. It feels like a few things, you know, like it has kind of that 80s throwback vibe. But then it's also just kind of like it's a weird kind of wacky comedy on top of it. And then did anybody else like his fucking face? He keeps flinching. He makes the same flinch face in every shot. And I was like, why are you making that face, man? But that's like besides the point. He's the writer-director, the main character.
And yeah, the star. I saw that. Like this is his vehicle to deliver himself upon the world. And like I don't know if it's bad because there's a realm where it might be really good and charming.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I got 90s. I got a very distinct 90s vibe. Like he's seemed to me to be trying to channel like Jack Black acting with Jim Carrey, but also rubberization.
The throwback is a little because he has like a 90s computer and he has like it's like Yoo-hoo and it's supposed to be Yahoo. It's like a lot of things mixed together. Here's what I'll say. When I saw the trailer for Shaun of the Dead, it didn't look funny to me when I first saw that trailer. So like that's why I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like this could be the next Shaun of the Dead. This could be very funny. This trailer didn't make it look funny, but it looked still interesting.
It made it look like a sketch. It made it look like a sketch about this movie. I'm not sure what that sketch would be trying to say, but some sort of sketch of Gen Z making fun of the 90s. Like, this is what you guys look like. And they're doing that thing where every single physical joke has a sound effect. It's sort of like a Jackie Chan thing, it's like a 90s Sam Raimi thing where Hercules: The Legendary Journeys kind of shit. It's
right.
Yeah, not like a slide whistle, but you mean like a slap sound effect.
Everything everything you do is a whoosh or a slap or a punch or something. Even if it's like I'm gonna pick up the phone and it'll be like whoosh whoosh.
Right.
And like that's a big part of like the vibe of the comedy built into it is just that kind of thing, along with him constantly making that yikes face and
Right.
Yeah,
Again,
it's
it feels
speaking in a weird
Edgar
voice.
Wright inspired, but not quite.
To a degree,
that.
it feels like an internet sketch to me. Like it
Yeah.
feels like mid-aughts, like solidly mid-aughts.
Yeah.
And
It's
not
getting
necessarily
mixed
in
reviews.
not necessarily in a bad way. I just
Yeah, it's getting mixed reviews. It didn't hit it out of the park, from what I can tell. It's
impossible to tell from the trailer. That was either it could be something completely charming as like an ode to stuff from my childhood.
so this person did in fact do sketch comedy in the 2000s.
Or it could be
Yeah,
it could be that. Okay.
they did sketches that were on College Humor and Funny or Die.
sure. I do like that the setup for it is kind of like The Seventh Guest or like an old school adventure game where it's just like we're gathering these 5 people at this creepy guy's mansion to do this weird ritual to summon this demon. And it kind of has that throwback look to it, so it gave me that I don't know, like maybe it's going to be charming in a way that it's not really being shown
Right,
in the
like,
trailer.
Part of this is me being like, what I don't know about this trailer, you know?
Right, because you
more
have to
than
get
I'm like-
somebody that knows comedy to cut together the trailer. Like that has to have a good comedic sense, and that's a high ask to get like the person splicing your trailer from your distributor or whatever also has great
Yeah.
comedic timing. And if they don't, it looks obnoxious. It looks like a piece of shit, but you cannot tell.
You really can't tell.
It also has
It's got-
Jeffrey Combs in it from Reanimated.
Yeah, that makes me happy. And
And
what's his
Kratos.
name? And Ralph Ineson.
Oh,
It
is
had,
Ralph Ineson
Barbara,
in it? Okay.
didn't it have Barbara
Apparently,
Crampton
yeah.
in it too?
I,
All
just-
right,
I don't
okay.
see her. Oh yeah, she's in it. Barbara Crampton is a very good sign that a movie's good. I've noticed.
Yeah.
She tends to be in very good movies, even throughout her career, or at least very fun.
Or at least
movies.
movies that have charm to them or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
maybe they're not high art, but you'll
Yeah,
have
she
a
was in
good time,
Chopping Mall, right? Like she's
Yeah, great, great film.
which was a blast.
exactly. And then fucking Jeffrey Combs, who I've been watching the shit out of because he's all over Deep Space Nine. He is Deep Space Nine is sopping with Jeffrey Combs.
So much
It's great.
Jeffrey.
Wet and stinking of
Because he
combs.
plays a character who's clones. So there's like literally this multiple Jeffrey Combs in it. It's wonderful.
Jeffrey
And he is combsing Jeffrey clones,
Jeffrey clones.
and he's combsing it up. He's combsing so hard in that.
Oh yeah, what a great use.
Yeah, I'll definitely check this out. I'm just like it's more of like I don't know. The trailer is a little off for me.
It's baffling in a way that, like, at the very least, it sticks in my head. It doesn't look like exactly what I was saying, where we've done this trope to death. You better bring in something new. I don't know what the fuck you're doing with this. I don't know what you're shooting for.
Part of me feels like it's like a Hats on Hats or something.
Yeah,
where
maybe.
it's like things like the opening music sounds like the Hobbit music. And then it's like, and then he's going to go to work and he's a loser, but then it's got the 90s throwback, and then it's
There's
got
a
like the
record
Guar
scratch.
puppetry. Yeah.
in this trailer. And I was like, okay, are you fucking with me then? What is this?
And it doesn't like seem to be horror based for most of it, and then it is. And so it's just, and then he's dressed like a maniac. And so there's just a lot. It might just be a really hard to sell movie.
Or it could be bad.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
probably
or
going to watch
could be
it,
that.
though. Based on, at the very least, if the point of a trailer is to make me interested, I
Yeah,
don't know
okay.
if it's positive interested, but I'm interested.
But I definitely
seeing-
need to see this.
I'm seeing comments in the YouTube of people talking about this character being something that was already established. So
So it's an
this might
earnest
be-
movie?
yes, this might be like an Ernest type movie. Like that's why it feels like a Hat in the Hat, because maybe it's like, oh, if you watch like his sketches, you know this character, and it's less confusing. That might be
So
it,
this is
where
Ernest
it's like,
Scared Stupid, where you're free
Sweet.
to explore.
it might be, yeah, where it's like this is an already established plot,
One
and
of,
so
one of,
we're
one
like
of the
jumping
jewels
into it.
of the Ernest series.
Yeah, if this is new Ernest, then fucking sign me up.
Let's go.
We always need new Ernest. We don't have enough Ernest.
Okay.
you know?
That kind of gels. This could be new Ernest. Like that's
Yeah,
the vibe that I'm like, what are you going for? That could be
yeah.
you
There
might have
has-
just solved it.
There has been a specific lack of Ernest in the last
Yeah.
15 or 20 years.
For some reason.
For some reason, I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know, but it's probably why like everything's bad now.
Yep.
Because we don't
Need
have
an
enough
Ernest.
No Ernest. Yeah, it's one of the pillars
Yeah,
of culture.
exactly. Yeah, that's what the was the importance of being earnest. That's what that was about.
Yeah, that's exactly what Oscar Wilde was writing about.
Yeah.
The importance
We
of
knew about
always
From so long ago.
Let's keep going because this next trailer has a similar vibe, but I think it's a little more controlled. It's not giving us enough though. This is Riddle of Fire. We're not getting much from this trailer.
This trailer looks like a Wicker Man trailer.
Yeah,
It looks like Wes Anderson doing the Wicker Man.
Yes. It's got mixed reviews, so this was one that I was also considering for more hype, but I just didn't think like the reviews weren't like pushing it all the way. It's a group of adventure kids basically on a woodland journey that's like a fantasy journey, but it's actually them just going on an errand for their mom. So the idea is like when you're a group of kids and you're out doing stuff, you go into your heads and you do fantasy. Like I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure it's like it's the heightened reality of being a child. It's like through the eyes of their fantasy of a errand that they're going on.
I like that
cute
idea. Like I like the kids on bikes idea.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I think that's a really smart idea. I don't know. The reviews go everywhere between people saying this is going to be a classic to people saying like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like no one's saying it sucks, mind you.
The trailer is interesting because it's really taking a very adult way that fantasy was depicted in like, because it's also kind of a throwback. So like it feels kind of like something like John Boorman's Excalibur or like, it's kind of shot like, or like Dragon Slayer. It's sort of shot like that, and it has the very serious, like serious fantasy that was made by like British filmmakers in like the 60s and 70s is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from it.
It's definitely dangerously close to the twee stuff, to the Wes Anderson, in not like a fun way.
It seems too serious to me in the trailer.
It seems like a serious Wes Anderson, but it's definitely got that like that vibe about it, of that kind of quirky aesthetic look.
Yeah.
But I think
it's also
it was hard to tell. This one was like, I feel like nothing happened and it didn't tell you anything in the trailer.
right.
Yeah, if you didn't have that explanation from you, Dave, this trailer is just
I wouldn't have had a guess. Although it sounds like it's maybe based on the kind of movie that lives and dies just by a vibe, and I guess that's what the trailer is doing, is settling like, do you want to live in this vibe for a little while?
Yeah,
like this.
Are you
it's a
tired?
cool idea because the errand they're going on, by the way, they're rewarded with
in this
they're
in this
rewarded
movie
with the they're rewarded with the password to the TV, meaning that it also takes place all in very modern times. One of the reviews says, revamped fantasies that culminate in magical pop realism where witches, fairies, and rubber guns evoke a childhood in which Hansel and Gretel coexist with the PlayStation. So that's the vibe they're going for, which is, sounds pretty unique.
Yeah. I was when you told me the premise and then I was looking at Riddle of Fire, I was like, oh, do they need like the password to like the Amazon Fire?
Yeah, maybe.
Like that's what the riddle is. It's like you don't remember that. It's like the thing trying to get you to remember your password.
Yeah.
This is based on kind of nothing, but it feels New Zealand. Just looking at it. Just watching this trailer.
This is just how people in New Zealand live.
Right? Like, this is just your life. Like, this is your afternoon in New Zealand. You hobbits.
Yeah, you're hobbiting around.
You fae.
Little shits.
In the Feywilds.
Yeah.
You trickster fairies.
One more trailer, and that is the trailer for Final Summer. Final Summer.
Yeah.
This is a throwback to Friday the 13th. It's a summer camp. Group of counselors find themselves being chased by a mass killer. Tom, I think we're on the same wavelength with this. I'm not getting much out of this, despite being a big, Friday the 13th fan. My problem with it is I was like, well, why don't I just watch Friday the 13th?
Yeah. This one, like, I appreciate that they're kind of going for it. They really do want to make it look. I guess they want to make it look like a throwback, but it does seem like this is one of those movies that thinks just throwing a grainy filter on and using old music as a soundtrack is
yes, it still looks modernly shot.
Right. It's still shot the same way as a modern film. You can still tell that it's kind of shot on video. And not a flattering
or digital
way.
Rather.
Yeah.
They don't go the extra mile.
No,
and then,
it just seems very surface level.
Right. And from the trailer, again, I'm like, what is the point? I guess is my big question for this one, which is like, if it's just we're doing this, it's like, cool. that's all. Like,
we had fun.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, that's fine. It's like making like a fake documentary about like a really like a low level thing, like someone opening a liquor store, and then it's like, all right, like why do any of that? Like what is the catch? You know, like if it's just we're doing Friday the 13th again, but like we don't have the rights.
Well,
and
I think
we're not.
There are reasons there are reasons to do that. I think like if you being a big fan of the genre, wanting to make a film that's totally within that specific genre, but like I said, it doesn't seem like they're actually doing the work. It feels very superficial. Like if they had gone further and like shot it like that and sort of used to kept in mind it wasn't just like a filter and a soundtrack. It was the way shots are framed, the way people looked. It was kind of the way the movie was paced and the way.
But even then, I'd expect like a parody element or like just something new. Or like, you know, where it's like, oh, you're doing the vibe of it, you know, like Stranger Things. It's like there's a point to that because I'm invested in the plot. But this one, I'm just like, well, we've seen this, right? We've seen this plot. So what is the new thing? Like what makes this unique?
I thought,
and at least the trailer isn't saying.
It was really just a feeling. It's probably based on nothing and almost certainly untrue, but it felt like somebody being nostalgic for the 80s that never lived through the 80s. Right? It feels like maybe some 17-year-old kid making their first movie and they're really romanticizing what the 80s were, but they don't have any like actual framework for it.
Right. I would also argue a lot of 80s nostalgia is that, but
but that's what I mean. Like I was expecting there to be, I'm not sure why, but I just keyed into that, and during the trailer I was expecting it to be like, let's examine how nostalgia is kind of a poison or something.
Right.
Like it seems kind of critical of what it is. And then it was just like, no, I'm serious.
Right, like, maybe there's something there, but it's not in this trailer.
Yeah.
And like the reviews are like, one of the reviews is like perfectly encapsulates the era of pre-Scream horror. And it's like, okay. Like
Go
again,
on.
like
what's the second part?
What does that mean?
Yeah, what's the second part?
A lot.
Where it's like, yep, this certainly is a remake of an 80s movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like what else?
You know, do you know those? Did you guys see those? God, what are they called? The Fear Street movies on Netflix.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
What they were to the 90s is kind of what this should be. Like if it was going to be that. That felt. It didn't feel authentic, but it felt like it made the 90s feel like a different dimension, like some sort of. Like somebody got isekai'd into the 90s. Yeah, it's like a
caricature of the 90s.
Got hit by a car and woke up in Bayside. It felt like this wild world that like, okay, it wasn't like that, but this is your interpretation on it. And that's what, like, if you were going to just make a straight 80s slasher without anything to say, you at least have to do that. You have to bring like your interpretation of that world rather than like, just...
Yeah, like and a lot of films have been doing that, where it's like this, like again, like the fucking Talisman of Souls, where it's like a sort of exaggerated period piece in a way.
Yeah,
where
you just gotta say why though. You gotta like why? Okay, why though? Why the 90s?
Yeah, or
why
at least your vibes have to be so unified. You know, like Mandy is one where it's like it feels kind of like a 70s throwback, but again, it's not. It's just such a strong vibe.
It takes place in the 80s.
Mandy does?
Mm-hmm.
But it's got, I guess it does, I guess it's more 80s or early 80s.
It feels like an early 80s, 70s fantasy horror movie.
Right, but as you're saying, it doesn't actually represent it.
Yeah.
It's just such a strong and like unified vibe that you're like, oh yeah, I'm with this. Like something like that maybe on top of this. This just feels like, again, just from the trailer, they're just not offering anything here.
But yeah, Mandy's a great example of that same thing, where it didn't feel like I'm trying to throw back to all these 80s and 70s movies. It feels like I went through a portal and woke up in somebody's brain, John Malkovich style, and this is how they experienced the 80s. Like, it's a more unique viewpoint than just throwing back and copying.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe it's good. It's got a lot of fucking work to do to win me over here.
Yeah. That trailer didn't do it.
No.
Nah.
No.
But maybe, I'm always hoping.
I like hope.
We've established where horror fans were going to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get your money. It's fine. Just, we might snark at you at the convention or something.
Right. Yeah.
Just let me know how sad I'll be about it.
Yeah. You won't want to talk to us if you meet us at a convention.
We'll be exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's thank some more producers, shall we?
Yeah.
Big thank you to Deborah is awesome, Barbara is great, and Cancer Can Go to Hell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula, the bus-driving vampire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Driftless, a.k.a. Goochcock.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to E.T., the extravagant terresticle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Evil Ed 209.
Thank you.
Thank you to Exploding Rooms.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Funky J, mostly comes out at night. Mostly.
Thank you.
Thank you to Heathcliff's Helping Handfuls.
Thank you.
Thank you to ImpossibleWorlds.net. Read issue 2 and keep sci-fi alive.
Thank you.
Thank you to James Cameron's Prolapse Locomotive.
Thank you so much.
Choo choo.
All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Chris Shanovich.
Thank you.
Thank you to Look Mom on a podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mabel. Step on me. Step on me. Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mercurial Oz.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mike the Lurker.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Tell Your Wife how many Patreon subscriptions you have before you agree to buy a house.
Thank you.
Thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie.
Thank you.
Thank you to No One Can Hear You Scream and Space McNulty.
Thank you.
And thank you to Norm from Cheers.
Yes. Yes. All right. We got news stories.
Willem Dafoe's just huge throbbing cock is in the zeitgeist now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Been
he's
talking about it on
over.
the hot dog Discord. We tricked the robot into summarizing our conversation and admitting that Willem Dafoe has a confusingly large cock. That's just like it's on everybody's mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's its time.
Oh yeah,
At long
it can be
last.
president.
It's time. It's your time. Take it. You can take it all.
Dafoe cock 2024. Let's do it. So Disney visual effects workers are voting to unionize.
Yeah, good for them. They
For them. It's great. I love these studio execs must be just constantly like, come on.
They're really just,
Fuck.
just
It is
stepping
really
on
nice.
rakes.
I never
love
thought
it.
I would live to see the start of the find out phase, but
Yeah.
it's happening.
It's great because when they're like, WGA, like, we're on strike. They're like, fine, we'll use AI. We'll figure it out. SAG is like, oh, well, we're striking. They're like, okay, well, fucking fine. We'll finish the movies. Maybe, we can make animated. And then VFX are like, we're going to fucking unionize. And they're like, okay, fuck. Like, no part. I'm waiting for like the ACE, right? That's American Cinema Editors, to strike. And then they're like, okay, nothing, stand still.
And it's going to get worse
again,
every single one that joins. Every one that joins is like, you're going to have to give more. You're going to have to give up more to end this because you have less to stand on.
Yeah, and fucking finally, because they owe so much.
Yeah.
So good. I hope visual effects workers they should have been the first to go on strike because that would have taken down so many films too.
Yeah,
it would have
and they've
stopped
been the
things
most
immediately.
abused lately. Like
Yeah,
Disney is really is forcing them into the permanent crunch mode by all everything I've heard. It's just an absolutely miserable job to be in now, and it didn't used to be. It used to be people go into it for a passion, and now it's like you're working 80-hour weeks because Disney needs another fucking middling garbage show everybody will forget about, but it's got lasers.
Everything's riding on them, and they treat them like that's not like they're unimportant. And so it's about time they fucking.
It's just about across the board.
Stopped. Yeah.
That's such their device too. Like the device of God media that that alone, that unionization alone is going to change the foundation of movies and TV as you know them from like the last 10 years. Because that has been their absolute crush, is just put effects in, just make it look neat, put this world in, put lasers in, everything else is background.
They film everything where they're like, film it all on a green screen, and then
so we can
write
put
the
in
movie
whatever
after.
we need to.
Yeah. It's too long that they've leaned on them for so many reasons, and one being that they treat them like shit. Yeah, so basically everything comes to a standstill except for Christopher Nolan, who's just like, nah, I'm good. I'm over here just like dropping planes, setting off real bombs. I'm good. But no, it's again, they should have been the first. They've earned it. They deserve this shit. I hope they get everything they want. They're not even on strike yet. They're just voting to unionize, so I will see what happens.
You gotta be scared.
Yep. A little bit of movie news. Henry Cavill apparently has been working on... Apparently there's a Highlander film starring him that's in the works, and there was just news about how it's still going on. I mean, after obviously the strike stuff. And so the news for me was like, there's a Henry Cavill Highlander film happening from the director of John Wick 4.
Yeah, it's Chad Stahelski. He's one half of the two John Wick guys. He's Keanu's stunt guy.
Right.
So it's still like one of the John Wick people. I had heard about that dude being attached. I didn't know Henry Cavill was, and they've been threatening to make this Highlander movie for I think damn near 15 years now.
Here's my feeling on
kick
this.
So much ass.
It could. Just make the sword fighting awesome.
Yeah. See, that's my view. I'm like, no, you can't have an awesome Highlander movie. That betrays the series.
It kind of does.
They all have to be kind of like mid to low budget and kind of crappy.
But you could. You could. Like it's such a simple, kick-ass premise. Henry Cavill is the perfect guy for it. John Wick people, if somebody can rein them in a little bit, would be the perfect people for. Because that last one was like 4 hours, and it did not need to be. It needed to be 90 minutes, is what that last one needed to be. But it still had so many fucking just kick-ass scenes in it.
Though.
Yeah, it had so many kick-ass scenes in it, but then in between it was just Keanu Reeves like wading through a pool of bad guys and shooting them in the head. Like, okay, do something interesting. And then he'd arrive at the next set piece and you're like, fuck yeah, that rules. Just 90 minutes of just that.
I still think, like, I want Henry Cavill still. Like, I love the idea of, like, top-notch actors and directors, but I think they have to be like, okay, your budget is $8 million, no more. It's called, like, Highlander 6, the Golden Cup or something.
Yeah.
Like, it has to just be a piece of shit still.
Okay, he does say in that article you linked, like I was saying, if you just take this simple premise, this guy that knows action and this completely charming, physically capable lead, you've got it. That whips ass. That's your new John Wick. But then he says in that piece, like, I want to get really into the mythology of it. I want to pull from all the sequels and the TV shows. You're like, fuck you, man. God damn it. Right in the heart.
I still think this should be a law. It should be a law that you can make any more of any series, but you have to include every movie up to that point. So, like, you can't reboot Jaws. You have to make Jaws 5.
Where
like
Jaws
stuff
3D
like that.
happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to make it a sequel to whatever has already been built, and there's no going back. So
Highlander
I hope
3
this is a
didn't
Highlander
pay attention
sequel.
to that rule. Highlander 3 was already ashamed. They were like, we just did that last year, and we are sorry. That was a mistake to do too. We didn't take backsies. Can we? I mean, it's fresh. It's just out there.
Turns out we shouldn't have said Highlanders were from space and the future. That turns out that was a huge mistake.
Dumb. Dark time in our lives. Let's just move on.
Final story: Barbie has officially become the biggest Warner Brother movie of all time at $1.3 billion. It has officially beaten out them Harry Potters.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's very funny to me. It was a very good movie. It's just the Ben Shapiro of it all was very funny, where he's like, it's gonna do terrible, and it's like, how about best Warner Brothers movie? I mean, it's because it was good and had talented people behind it, right? And like a lot of talent making it. So like, just keep doing that, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, keep
You know?
doing toy movies is the lesson they're going
Right.
to learn.
Yeah,
Keep doing
exactly.
specifically Mattel toy movies. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That was the secret. Get a Hot
Yes.
Wheels movie in production now!
The audiences didn't like Hasbro, but we've got it now.
We nailed it.
It's not
They're
because
really-
it's visually interesting or 1,000% committed or like a weird take. It's because they love plastic.
It really is. Warner Brothers just keeps lucking into these things. It's like you ever have like a dirtbag friend who keeps falling into like money and then using it in a really dumb way. It feels like that where Warner Brothers, like they had Harry Potter's, and it feels like they lucked into that because it was just the right, a lot of the right things happened. And then that's one where it's like they were skillfully made based off a story that had a beginning, middle, and end. And a fan base, and it did well. And then they're like, all right, let's just keep making more Harry Potters. And it didn't work out. And it's like, yeah, because that wasn't the lesson. The lesson was just like find,
Are you ever going to learn the real simple lesson?
Yeah. Find things
Find
just made by
good
good
stories,
people.
When what they're doing is learning a lot of complicated wrong lessons in a row.
Exactly.
Yeah. Never learn the right ones.
No, it's very silly. But yeah, good for Barbie, I guess, for making money. I guess.
It's a weird thing to root for.
Good for an already wealthy, tall company for making even more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. Well, that's it. That's it for news stories. Should we thank some more producers?
I think we should, Dave. I think it's that
All right.
time.
Big thank you to Pete Forpagel.
Thank
you. Thank you to Numenal Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcanoconiosis Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Jones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to pre-order TikTok superstar Jason Pargin's new book, Zoe is Too Drunk for This Dystopia. Pre-orders are super important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to RevMD.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you.
Thank you to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Thank you.
Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank you.
Thank you to Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Steven.
Thank
you. Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to the Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight. Thank you.
Yeah, baby, yeah. All right, let me swoop in here. Thank you to the Oatmeal Savage.
Thank you.
Thank you to the producer formerly known as the Ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you to the To Be Terror Bunny says support workers, Egg David Zaslav.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you to These 7 Bees.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tux.
Tux.
Thank you to Vincent.
Thank you.
Thank you to Why Don't You Take a Flying Fuck at the Moon?
Thank you.
Thank you to your mom.
Thank you.
And thank you to Zzz, because Pie Guy liked being last.
Thank you.
Dave,
Thank
you brought a smorgasbord of films that deserve more hype, but I did. And you know what? We spent a little time talking about each and every one, and gosh darn it, I hope we did our duty there, giving them a little bit more hype. But you know what? I gotta ask, here we are at the end of things.
Poop. Yeah.
We're at the end of the road, as Boys to Men said.
Yep.
Do you happen to have one more movie that deserves some more hype?
Just one more little cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't deserve one more, but I have one more.
Oh.
Not that anybody deserves more, but yes, I do.
What luck!
What if we demand it? What if we
very...
take it?
By force!
Seize the means of production.
This is called Minor. It's currently doing festivals. I feel like it will be seeing it early next year, I want to say. But there's no way of knowing. The director has done a lot of VFX work, but hasn't really directed much himself. It's Lovecraft. It's about a Greek port that has a fucking tentacle creature comes from the ocean floor. It's a gang of people who all like come together to save their city. It's got real vibes to it. Like the trailer, I would say, has like two different vibes. The first half, it like feels kind of like mystical and like, ooh, what's this gonna be? And then the second half, it's just like trauma level gore. And apparently that's how the movie is too. Like at the halfway point, it just goes out of its mind the way the trailer does. But that's it. It's this fucking tentacle monster attacking a seaside fucking town. And it's ripping people apart and shit. And it looks freaky deaky. And it seems to have good reviews. And it's filled with practical effects. So
and also a animated it's animated digitally, but the little creatures look very much like Terry Gilliam animations.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks real fucking weird.
Attacking a Monty Python. I was really into this trailer actually. Like it looks so weird. And apparently the first half of it is just like this completely different story, like about this sailor dude like just having a nice time with his new girlfriend, and then the monsters show up halfway through and it becomes out of its mind. And Troma was a real good pull there. It does look a little Toxic Avenger in the middle part. I love how bonkers this looks and how weird and surreal. It also looks like good just from a filmmaking standpoint. Like the images are interesting.
Beautifully shot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people reviewing the cinematography.
I love how
surreal
it
is in fact
looks.
Out of Greece. Yeah, it's dreamy.
Yeah,
I was so, I am still so pumped for this movie. It looks great. I love that. I was reading through a couple other reviews of it, and I saw people like, oh, the effects are bad because they're practical, cheaper effects or whatever. They look fucking great for what they are. Like, if you like practical effects, they use it as an art instead of a replacement for CGI. Like, it's done with an actual eye for detail. I was so much more pumped for it, though, because the first almost 2/3 of this are playing it so completely straight. Like, it sounds, you're waiting. Like, they're playing it so straight that you're waiting for the punchline, for the record scratch moment, and then for all the wackiness to happen. And they didn't actually deflate it like that. It's still played. God, it's such a bizarre trailer. It's still played so straight-faced, like very heavy-handed existential narration from a dreary, gloomy man just facing the unknown. And then the I guess punchline is like the fantastical series of violence, but it's never like stops and then somebody has a one-liner.
Right. No one like looks at the camera or like, there's no like, oh, it's wacky now. Like it just continues that tone.
But I
it
thought
just
they were
goes
going
out
to
of
do
control.
that. Like it seemed like the setup for record scratch. Here's fucking Jim Carrey versus Lovecraft's monsters.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't is what really excites me.
Yeah, if you hadn't read about it and a little bit before watching the trailer and had read that it's supposed to be kind of zany and campy, like it's deliberately supposed to be kind of funny, like you could watch this trailer and not know that.
Yeah, I was more excited for the movie not knowing that, because I read the articles afterwards, and then one of them was like, this kind of got the vibe of Zombieland. I was like, God damn it. No, really, I want to play it straight.
I'm like the reviews I'm having trouble with because it's played at a few festivals, and some of these reviews I'm like, I don't trust your opinion.
Right, if it's because
like,
that trailer was not that.
Right, one of them kept fucking comparing it to the Avengers, Marvel's The Avengers.
What?
And only because there's a scene where a team of people get put together, and they kept going back to it in the review. And I'm like, you need to calm down.
This is a person who has been writing movie reviews for like
it's 2013.
Like, like movies that only came out within the last 10 years.
Your comparison though for that is Avengers instead of like Seven Samurai. Avengers invented that, the team coming together.
Nothing. All right. Yeah, it's I don't know, but I don't want to put on the reviews on blast. I'll just say that like reading through the reviews, it was like there were certain reviews I was reading. I was like, oh, never mind. I don't trust this person's opinion. It's moving on.
I know go ahead, Robert.
Oh, I was just gonna say this trailer, what the movie that this trailer promises, like that, just the trailer, not the articles and any follow up. If the movie as this trailer gives it to us is how the movie actually turns out, like that looks amazing. It's everything I would want. It's like it would be right up there with, I don't know, with like Mandy for me. If you're
and that's the thing, like Lovecraft specifically has been we've been oversaturated with it a little bit. But this looks like one that like, oh, I think they're having enough fun with this that I want to check this out. Like right now, Lovecraft actually makes me pause in a trailer now where I'm like, okay, I want to know more before I see it because everybody's jumping on it. This one, it just looks like it's well made enough that I'm like, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So I want to check it out.
Yeah, it looks really unique. I'm actually kind of a little more stoked now, even more so than you explaining that you were reading some of these reviews and they're comparing it to like Zombieland and the Avengers, and like some of them you just like had to bail out because it seems like people don't know quite what to make of this.
Yes.
And that kind of makes me even more hyped.
That is kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'll commit. Yeah. I'll commit to being pumped for this.
Sweet.
Yep. So that's Minor. It's in festivals right now, but hopefully it'll get picked up soon. So check that out, folks.
Yeah, Minore.
Yep. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's, I guess, Greek. I like did the thing where I was like, how do you pronounce this?
Oh, no, I mean, no, that sounded right.
And the internet just said Minor. And I'm like, all right, so it's what it's...
I always felt like there may be a couple of different ways you could hear Minor and spell it.
Oh, yeah. It's just also one of those things. Like, you ever get something where it's like the word is like, you know, the letter F and U, and you're like, how do you pronounce that? And they're like, it's foo. And it's like, oh, all right. Well, you expect like something more amazing.
Right, a little more complicated or something.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, no, it's just you put those two sentences together. Okay,
man.
got it.
I mean, I'd love to keep having this conversation, but you know what? That's a so!
Woo!
We've done it!
Oh my God, we fucking did it. We made it. I'm going to go light off some fireworks, kiss my wife.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Robert, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was great.
You want to plug some stuff again? You want to do the little pluggies?
Plugging again? Just check out the new one. Check out Big Feats. Me, Jason Parge, and Sean Baby having a ton of goddamn fun watching the goofiest show I cannot believe exists. Or if you don't feel like that, just watch Mountain Monsters on Max. It's fun. It's fun also. I just wanted to get more episodes. So in the long run, that's good for my job.
Yeah.
It's good for the world too, honestly.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
It's not bad for the world, probably.
Therefore, anybody that doesn't is harming the world. You sons of bitches.
Yeah. It's good for the world until Bigfoot runs for president and we're like, God, he's so problematic. Like, I liked it better when he was a reality TV character, you know?
Yeah, there it is.
But for now, it's good.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, GAMEFULLY unemployed. Check that out. We got exclusive podcasts on there. Tom and Jeff watch Batman, Fox Mulder's a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys. We watch movies every Friday night with our patrons as well. That's it.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs. You get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So check that out. Slap your mountain monster hunting peepers onto that.
Yes.
One more, let me add one more thing to my plug. Jason Pargin just texted me right now to say in episode 8, the Mountain Monster team has arrived to interview a cattle rancher named Wolfie, and Jeff notes that Wolfie's prize bull has a huge penis, to which Wolfie replies, he's got the length and girth, that's for sure.
Yeah. Quite an unexpected qualifier.
End of text from best-selling author Jason Pargin.
What a great nightmare text to get from Jason. I hope you're getting those like every hour, like 4 a.m.
I've gotten 3 today.
Like he's just spiraling.
From a field agent.
Slowly, the texts are going to be like, I think Bigfoot's outside my house. I'm going to go out there and find him. I think I am Bigfoot. Like, just slowly.
He's just going to text you a picture
spiraling.
of Bigfoot eventually. Like, yeah. I got him.
Now, Brockway, would you say you're more of a Buck or a Jeff?
Bigfoot. Good
all
for
right.
him.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. You can find more of his artwork at instagram.com/mvbramleyart. Our episode artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.